Hey, stop building links until you fix this, or you will keep throwing money down the toilet and you will not see the results that you want to see for your brand. Hi, I'm Alejandro Mayahans. I've been doing SEO for a decade, and for the last 4 years, I've been running a multi-7-figure link building agency. And these are some of the most common problems that we see in some of the clients that, in spite of building fantastic links, they still struggle to rank. Every single time they fix them, they get good results like this, and this are the thing, and these are the ones that my editor put on the screen. Amazing. And in today's video, you're gonna learn how to identify if your site is ready for link building, the issues that will completely neutralize your efforts, and exactly how to correctly diagnose and fix those things. Let's go. All right, issue number one, it should be on your nose, but if you struggle with this, you will struggle forever, is poo-poo hosting. What does this mean? It means a server that is ever down is not 100% of the time up. It means a server that is slow or has a poor CDN native integration, which most likely cases means that you are in a shared hosting. Problem with that, you also have a shared IP. IPs carry a reputation. If this one is bad, or this one is bad, or this downtime is anything more than 0%, you will struggle to rank. How to solve it? Move into a VPS, move into a dedicated hosting. There's things like Cloudflare that you can then enable on top that will make sure that the site delivers for as long as Cloudflare doesn't have a global outage. Happens rarely. Why does this really matter? Well, if your server is slow or unstable, Google cannot crawl your website, it cannot fetch the information, and therefore it cannot rank you. If this is not your problem, amazing, you can move into the next issue. All right, second most common issue that we see all the time, this is particular to WordPress sites, is gonna be plugin theme loads. Why is this a problem? More plugins means more code. Slow theme means more code. More code means the site takes slower to be sent by the hosting. This is why you need a really fast hosting in the first place. And then your site needs to be sent to the crawlers when they request to fetch it. Why is this a problem? Manifold. One, the bigger the website, and it comes to the actual size of the index.php file, okay, your theme and your plugins go into that, the slower that's going to be served to the crawler. The slower it's served to the crawler, the more money it costs Google, the least they're going to like you. But then it comes when that actually, that package opens, the problems that you encounter is more plugins, more vulnerability problems. If your site gets hacked, your rankings will go down the toilet, okay? So plugin issues open you to hacks, opens you to slow site, opens you to render issues. How to tell if you have this problem? Go to WordPress, open the plugins tab, and look at every single plugin that you have. If you have plugins that are inactive, or plugins that do a function that is very simple that you can do with a piece of code, either on the header of the site or a simple snippet, remove the plugin. Typical issues that happens with plugins that are inactive or are no longer on the WordPress repository is they get bought and then they get hacked, and you have stuff injected on your website and all sorts of bad things. Within here, I'm gonna add another problem that other people have, which is a lot harder to correct. It's going to be bloated page builders. An issue for a different video, hard to correct because you need to move out of the page builder. Many sites don't need a page builder at all. Single best theme there is when it comes to speed is GeneratePress. If you have GeneratePress, a very minimal plugin selection, and you're building directly on the Gutenberg editor with some minimal CSS, you'll have a very, very fast site. You can likely also do that in plain HTML. So how do you fix this? We said, get into a good hosting. How do you fix this? We said, remove plugins, old plugins, and then compress. Compress? Talk about that here. Most common issue number 3, crawl errors. Crawl errors equal your 500, 400, 300, sometimes errors. Anything that is not a code 200 OK is theoretically a crawl error. Every single time the crawler, Google, hits your site and it gets anything other than a perfect, here's the content that you're looking for. Right? Every time it gets, this is not the drones that you're looking for, Google is going to be disappointed. In which order should you be solving this? Go to Search Console, look at 500 errors. If you have those are server-side errors, and this is why issue number 1 was so big. If you have anything there, you know your server has problems. Next, go to your 400 errors. Any pages that solve as a 404 that is really removed content. The best thing is that you put a robots meta tag that says error 410. This content really is not here and will never be here again, and Google will drop the URL. And it will also stop putting crawl resources there. And then for 300, 301s, 302s, 307s, most common ones, if an URL has moved because it does no longer exist, then put a 410 instead. And if the URL has actually moved, then the 301 is valid. Best thing you can do is find all the versions of that old URL and rewrite the new one instead, so you no longer need the redirection. If you have any redirect change, then you can get that through Screaming Frog, Ahrefs Site Auditor, Lightbulb, any simple SEO auditor. If you get redirect change, do solve those immediately. Number 4, an issue that we see all the time, and it kind of stems from problems from before as well as improper robots.txt rules, is index bloat. What this means is you have a site that has, let's say, 100 pages of unique, valuable content that's been optimized for search engines, but Google finds, instead of 100, they find 1,000 URLs, which means only 10% of your site is of any value. Now, that is okay if the other 900 get no index, but if they start being added to the index because you don't put proper rules, then the amount of site that Google finds not only is bigger than it should be, the amount of site that Google adds to its index is more than it should. And that will give you a nice solid problem to deal with later on. All right, so if you fix your crawl errors and you fix your index bloat through some sweet robots.txt rules, as well as some xrobots tags, what's the next most important thing that you have to solve? Well, I kind of gave it away earlier. It's just site speed. Why does this matter? Reasons I mentioned before, but also because it impacts your core web vitals. And core web vitals by itself is not really a ranking metric. The way that core web vitals works is the following. If there is a user with a phone in a slow internet connection, and let's say your core web vitals stay here and the user's connection is here, you just don't appear for that user. Your rankings won't change, but you will disappear for users in locked-in devices and connections where Google can tell, yeah, this site is just simply too slow to serve it, which means you get less user data. You have less positive signals to feed into RankBrain. Eventually, it does have a trickle-down effect. But the way it really matters is, again, going into Google Search Console and doing this check. You want your time to first byte to be less than 200 milliseconds. This is the same as your reaction time when you're driving, how fast you hit the brakes when you have to brake, mean the longer or shorter that the car will travel. The longer time to respond means the longer it will take for the site to then load, and then depending on how heavy it is and how crappy the hosting is, it starts to compound, and then it's impossible that you will hit green core web vitals if you have issues at the basic level and issues here. This stems from these two, okay? And since I feel like I kind of repeated myself, but I just wanted to break it down, I'm gonna give you 2 more. All right, so quick recap. We've seen the issues that belong to the technical foundation. If this is a bit unfamiliar to you, I have a video here. It's a 40-minute masterclass going into a lot more detail here. But provided that you've taken care of the technical foundation, and again, we're saying that you are building good links, this is why you have to do this first, so these guys kick in. What's the last thing we're missing? I'll give it to you. All right, the next 2 issues are related to content, as you've guessed it. So the first one is content architecture. And what this means is that the way that your site is laid out, the way that every single page is laid out on your site, is not optimal for 2 things. So you might have seen this image before. This is your home page. This is a service page or a locations page, right? And this is some of your supporting content, right? Proper website architecture will follow something like this. This is called a reverse silo structure. Doesn't matter so much, right? The issue with content architecture is if you build the links to your homepage, which wants to rank for your main term, but you don't have good internal linking with your service pages and vice versa, these pages will not see the same amount of benefit as they could. And if you build in links here to the supporting content and they don't have the right structure to support your service or locations pages, they won't do that sort of like hub and spoke also method of redirecting link juice. How do you know if you have this problem? You have 500 million links on your homepage, both in the content, on the different layout sections, right? And then you also have a lot of content that isn't top relevance content, money pages in your main navigation. And also you are linking from your main money pages to a lot of your informational content instead of linking from a lot of your informational content to one key money page, which is the page that they're meant to support. That will get you bad content architecture. What happens if you follow the theory, right, is that as you send power to this page through internal links, it follows to the other pages, and vice versa. As you put links into your service pages and your locations pages, this entire layer supports your homepage, which typically targets the most competitive, right, term. If you're an emergency locksmith in Chicago, that's what your homepage targets, right? If you sell accounting software, and then this is accounting software for crypto business, this is accounting software for freelancers, this is accounting software, right? Different use cases, right? then you want this to have proper architecture. How do you fix this? You do a review of your homepage and your money pages first, and you get very thorough about where you link to from those pages. The next issue that we see all the time is document structure. Extremely easy. You have a page, has a title, it has a subtitle. This is your H1, right? It has an actual title, which is what shows on the tab, right? Or basically your H1, this is to say your H2s, right? And then your H3s, H4s, H5s. It needs to cascade on this order. You're gonna have an H2 here, then an H3, then an H1 here, then another H1 here. That doesn't work, okay? So provided that you have good architecture here on the document structure, then you also have bulleted rich data with numbers and percentages, and then you are linking out to external sources that validate your data. And you write as much as possible in first person or an authoritative voice that is easy to understand, legible, and clear. You not only do that, but you also follow this main content, what answers the intent, supplementary content. If you're an e-commerce, this is products, and this is your blah blah. Don't put your blah blah here, right? If this is a money page, in a service page, put the stuff that satisfies the intent of the query, that basically gives an answer to the user. At the top, put all the supplementary content about your company, your story, as well as your FAQs. And last, to reinforce this document architecture, you're gonna put something beautiful, absolutely beautiful, gorgeous, called schema. And that schema should say the exact same that the page says on the document, and that will get you a really strong document, right? So now you know what kind of issues from your technical foundation will be hindering you. You know what kind of issues with your content will be hindering you. Do you know what links do you need? If you don't, there's a video here that will teach you exactly how to know how many links you need to rank #1, or you can always use the link on the description to book a call with us and we'll tell you. Then last, you have these two things. Okay, what's the user experience like? Good content will maximize the quality of the user experience by default, and then brand splits itself into brand volume. If you have 0, harder to correct, okay, but you need to work on that. And brand mentions as well as branded links. Branded links can be solved with links. Branded mentions can be solved with a link building campaign that doesn't actually yield 100% links like digital PR. That's it. That's what will be holding your rankings back, and that's what you have to fix before you keep building links. This is Alejandro Mayahans. Follow up for more videos like this.